Hello everyone, it's Untitled Chapter and welcome to this The Sims 4 Island Living speed build. So this sort of feels like the first Island Living speed build I'm uploading, but it is not quite the first one because I uploaded one a week ago already, but that one was recorded in Los Angeles at EA Play, and this time I'm actually playing The Sims 4 Island Living at home at my own PC because due to EA Game Changers I actually got an early access code, and therefore now I've got my full hands on the full game, the brand new expansion pack for The Sims 4, which is actually coming out on the 21st of June, so it's available for everyone very soon, and I'm very excited to be showing you this brand new expansion pack in this new speed build today. In the previous speed build I already showed you quite some things already, but I still had to sort of figure out what the new stills mode worked like, and sort of had to discover some of the new items. Also, I was at some time pressure there, but this time I've actually done a huge speed build, or actually just a really cool house. To be honest, I think this might actually be my best house in The Sims 4 so far. As you know, I'm really into tropical houses, and I've been wanting a world like this one for a really long time, and today creating this speed build I was just so happy with what it actually turned out like, what this world of Sulani, this tropical world in The Sims 4 turned out to look like, because it really is the way I'd hoped it would be. Because building on water is just really cool, the environment and just the surroundings are beautiful, and you'll see that at the overview in the end of the video as well. And today I'm actually building a Maldivian house, which sort of would say that this could fit in the Around the World building series. I'm not actually officially calling it an Around the World speed build, but in case you don't actually know about this series because you only just arrived at my channel like a couple of days or weeks ago, like quite a long time ago I had a series on my channel which was called the Around the World building series, which, as you would guess, is a series in which I was building houses from all around the world. Some houses I've done are Italy, Spain, USA, South Africa, Balinese, Hawaiian actually, so that would sort of fit in this tree. But I hadn't actually built a Maldivian house because you definitely needed to be able to build on water for that. But today I'm actually building a Maldivian house, which turned out really cool, like I said, and a really Maldivian if you ask me as well. I did give it some of my own twist because generally those Maldivian houses are the very typical ones you tend to see on Instagram or Pinterest or anywhere, where you just see those really cool suites. It's actually exactly what I'm saying they are. They are suites, so not actual like houses, but just rooms of like very luxurious like resorts and stuff. Therefore this time I wanted to do something different sort of than the typical Maldivian house, because those would be too small, and I wanted to build something bigger. But every now and then they also rent out like huge villas with these resorts. Those are probably like the most expensive like rooms or villas of their like resort, and that's sort of what this is. This is like a true villa with 3 bedrooms, a full like living room, kitchen, and very much outdoor space, and generally just a really cool shape. It actually turned out looking quite a bit like a boat, and there's actually quite some references in it as well which refer to it, the shape being inspired by a boat, but that wasn't actually what I intended on doing when I started building it. It was not really my intention to build a boat, but while working on it I realized, sort of looks like a boat, probably very much also because it is built on the water, obviously. But personally I'm not too much of a fan of the thought of it looking like a boat, so please sort of forget it. But I can imagine before everyone is commenting that it looks like a boat, I guess it indeed looks like a boat a little bit. But let's get that out of the world now. But what is sort of cool about this house is the split leveling, and that's actually what I'm doing right at this moment. Because you've got stilts and because we've also got different height foundations, it's now actually possible to create some really interesting sort of complex houses. And while working on this, I actually experienced sort of the fun I also experienced while working with constraint floor elevation in The Sims 3, which is sort of the first time that I'm actually experiencing that like in The Sims 4, because I'm not too sure if you actually played The Sims 3, but if you did, you'll definitely remember this idea, or just this entire thing, which was constrained floor elevation, and that allowed you to place freezes on top of houses and under it, and just basically made it possible to create crazy shapes and be like super creative and generally just create really weird shapes with like the general build mode like functionalities. With The Sims 4 we don't have that functionality, but as you can see now, because of those different hard foundations, you can actually do some really cool split leveling. Also because we can now extend the eaves of roofs, which I'm making a lot of use of in this video, or in generally in this house just. You are actually able to be really creative and come up with a really cool design. So that's what I tried to focus on for this house, and which made this look sort of interesting. And also there's been a new patch, which is actually good for everyone, also those who are not planning on getting The Sims 4 Island Living, or those who haven't actually pre-ordered it yet and just generally don't want to buy the pack. Later on in the video I'll just share sort of my experiences and my opinion on this pack, because there's some downsides, but generally I'm very, very excited about it, because for builders this is really a good pack, especially if you like tropical worlds, obviously. But what I wanted to say is that with this new expansion pack also came a new patch update, which is an update for everyone, and with that update actually came a lounge chair, which means that you're not only getting 2 lounge chairs if you've got Island Paradise or Island Living, but everyone who's got the Sims 4 base game will be getting those lounge chairs. Also there's 350 new swatches on doors, and I'm not too sure, but I believe not windows, but on doors, which means that we finally got regular white doors, which if you're sort of into the Sims community, you know that that is something people have been wanting for a really, really long time. And there's also an update which actually makes it possible, or just makes build mode some bugs. It fixes some of the bugs. For instance, you've got the line, the siding sort of, which I've added around the pool, which I built by adding sort of a roof siding. Normally alongside a couple of stairs, that wouldn't actually function, and it would sort of screw up and it wouldn't look good. But now with this update, they actually fixed that. I realized that while actually just adding that, and at the first moment I didn't even see it, because it is something it's sort of logical that it happens, but for some reason it just didn't happen. But now finally it's possible. At this moment I realized, because I just added it and I was like, wait, it actually just fixes. So that's really cool. So those are just some really good updates, and maybe I'm missing some stuff, but generally it's just really exciting that there's new stuff for everyone. Like I said, you should just get this expansion pack. Really, if you've got some money laying around for an expansion pack, or you were planning on buying an expansion pack already, then I would go for this one if you're a builder, and maybe also if you're more into live mode. But I'm not really too much into live mode, so I'm not too sure if this is the pack for you then, because I just don't have that much experience with it. However, I can imagine that it's really cool to have your sim get away from the 9-to-5 life and actually have him live on, or have your entire family live on an island and live sort of an alternative lifestyle, and being able to live in a house like this. I'm actually I'm actually have been working today on another build as well, which is an off-the-grid speed build. With the new expansion pack, actually also comes a new lot trade, and that's the off-the-grid lot trade. I'm not too sure, maybe it even comes with the update, but I'm not too sure. I've got to check that. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments down below. But that off-the-grid lot trade actually means that you have to build a house which is not connected to electricity, so adding a television won't work. Also adding something which uses a lot of water, like your general shower for instance, won't function there. You can add them, but it just won't work. But there are, for instance, some toilets which can function on off-the-grid lots, because otherwise without a toilet it will be sort of a challenge to keep your sim alive, or at least to keep the place clean. And also there's a sink which functions, but generally you've got to work with candles, and I believe they have to clean themselves in the ocean, but I'm not too sure. like I said, I'm not playing the game. I've just been building the off-the-grid build. But that build is sort of like the contrary to this one, like a very basic one. And I think perfect if you're planning on like just getting started as a family here on the island and not having that much money yet, and just moving here to live the regular island living lifestyle, not like the more fancy island living lifestyle which the people living in this house will be living. But yeah, I'm planning on uploading that speed build somewhere on Saturday. Be prepared that it's not as fancy as this one. This is like a very luxurious mansion almost, and that one is a very basic house, but it was a lot of fun to build. Also because I realized that there's so many new plans coming with this pack. You'll be seeing some of them on or in this speed build, but as you can see, much of this is in the water, so there's actually not that much gardening or landscaping to do. But seriously, I was amazed by the amount of plants that's actually coming with this pack. You can't even use all of them in one build, and that means that they've got a lot. Very many palm trees as well, and generally like plants are like so important to make the houses look good, so I'm always wanting more, and with this pack you're actually getting very many more. Also the shutters, which I've been adding in this house already as well, as you can see, are really cool and like create a very airy feeling. Some other items I really like are, for instance, the floaties. Generally the fact that we've got boats. What else? We've got some really cool like furniture, generally some really cool like sofas, especially like exterior furniture, some outdoor sofas, some poofs, some chairs, just generally some really cool items. And another last reason is just the world. As you can see, the world looks really cool, so that's just another reason as a builder to buy this pack. Some downsides are that you cannot actually create a swimming pool on the first floor level, so that's the reason why I actually added the pool on like the first floor instead of like the ground floor. That sort of looks like Maldivian houses generally look like as well, because often they have like they almost always have like some very tiny swimming pools, just like this one has, but they're often like above water. There's not just above it, but quite a bit above it, so that sort of fits this, but it is slightly too much. Like the ratio, sort of just generally the measurements don't really match up perfectly as they would in a regular Maldivian house, but it is not a problem. You can add pools on water lots, but like I said, you can't add them on ground level, which is a pity because you can also not add them just on the terrain of like it is just generally not possible on any water lot, no matter how much water there is. So you can't also put it on the land part of the water lot, which is a pity. And also you can't actually add a terrain on water lots, which I can imagine. I said it in the previous video already as well, but the developers explained that it is sort of hard with like making sure that the Sims can get into the ocean and the animation to function, but that's the reason it is actually not really possible to add a terrain. But it would have been really cool, because that would have been like the possibility for some really crazy builds, because of course, like alongside water, or at least in that way you can maybe even build like a tiny island in the water yourself, but that might be coming sometime later. But it might just generally be too hard and they'll maybe never add it. So that is sort of a downside, which I was slightly disappointed with. And that is basically it, I believe, for what I've actually, like, this is not really a structured review or anything. If you want to see something like that, I'd advise to watch someone else's video, but this is just my thoughts and generally my view on like build mode for the new expansion pack, which I'm sort of just sharing during the speed build. But those are the two main like things which come up in my mind at this moment. By the way, currently I'm changing the color of the windows again. I'm changing them all the time because generally I just wasn't sure what what color to go for, because we had those large pillars which are sort of creating some interesting looking shutters, but like those had a color which I couldn't match with like some other things in like the build, for instance, like those vertical or horizontal lines would go around each floor. I couldn't get them to match those. Also, it was sort of too bright to make the entire house in that color. But generally, mainly the problem was that I just couldn't have the columns the same color as I had the rest of the house. So I thought maybe the window should be gray, but then I made them gray and I was like, maybe they should be the same color as those vertical columns. But then I did so and I was like, it's not really modern enough anymore. And I really wanted this to be a modern build because while playing at EA Play, I realized that I didn't have the expansion packs or like the other expansion packs. I only had like Island Living at my disposal, so I could only use those items. And generally, the items coming with that pack are not really very modern. And on themselves, they can very well be matched with like modern items to create that sort of like beachy, modern, tropical style, which is really cool and which is like my favorite style for houses or like restaurants and stuff. But which did make it hard to build a modern house. So therefore, I wanted to make a true modern house for this one, which I'm not too sure. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I actually succeeded in that. It is very modern, like from the inside, and from the outside it looks very modern as well, but it's not like super modern contemporary. Maybe that's something I can do another time as well, but I feel like this is a style that fits this island like really well. So therefore, this is the style I build in, and it's pretty modern, I guess, or at least modern enough. And I think no one even cares, so I should probably stop talking about it. But then in the end, will be deciding that the windows and like the shutters will be white. You'll just see it in at some point in the video. I believe I changed it like quite late in the video, simply because I realized, wait, I haven't actually tested making them white yet, and that actually turned out to be quite a good decision. Here I thought, why not make a green roof? Sort of good to like decrease that urban heat island effect, which is definitely very well like actually present there in the middle of the ocean in this tropical paradise. Of course, there's definitely urban heat island effect, but yeah, it just looked cool to make a green roof. And those were also some of the new plants which came with the pack, which are pretty cool because they sort of like cover the soil. And if you really have a strong PC, I guess you could even use it instead of like the grass like brush, like terrain paint brush. You could instead just add that all around, and then you've got like actual 3D grass. But if you don't have a strong PC, I would not advise it, because like it's just very many faces, and faces are just generally for PCs very hard to like render and produce. So if you've got very many faces, it will definitely slow down your computer. But like small parts like that don't even matter. And then there was something else I wanted to talk about as well. Oh yeah, that was the fact that I'm planning on starting a Let's Build, because I've been doing Let's Builds like a lot in the past, but recently I've just not really had that much time for it. But since I've now got the pack, which I'm super excited about, I really want to do a Let's Build again, also because it allows me to upload slightly more without making all those speed builds all the time, because like these videos take a lot of time to make. And I realized like, okay, I've been making not very many videos lately. And then I was thinking, and it's actually very logical that I've not been making as many videos as I used to. I used to make like 3 videos a week. But that's because like 2 of them at least were Let's Builds. Also was like way less busy because I was in high school, not at university. So there's quite a difference. And I wasn't living on my own and stuff. But like also the difference between Let's Builds and speed builds in time production wise is like massive. And Let's Builds are quite a lot of fun to make. But I need a suggestion on what I should be building in the Let's Build. And I might actually record the first episode right after this one. So in that case, you wouldn't have a say in it. But I don't think that will be the case. So please let me know in the comments down below what you would like to see for the Let's Build. So what kind of build should I make? I've been thinking of building a resort, but I also thought that might cause some confusion because you don't have the lot type resort in the game. You don't have the career to own a resort or be like a hotel manager. So therefore, I thought maybe I should prevent some confusion. However, like building a resort is really cool. I mean, you can do so much with it and just create a really cool build. But I thought what parts of the resort are cool to create, and those are like the pool and the like the sitting areas and the restaurant stuff. And therefore, I thought maybe I should just build a beach club, because with a beach club, you can basically create all the cool parts of a resort and sort of create a resort without creating the sleeping aspect of it. And a bar or a beach club is actually possible to have as an actual lot type. So therefore, it is also way more usable for all of you to use in your game. So actually, I'm realizing right now that it's probably going to be a beach club that I will be making for the Let's Build. It sounds cool as well. Let's build a beach club. Yep. So that's gonna be the one, I guess. But if you've got some cool suggestions, I'm totally open for it. So let me know in the comments down below. And generally, I've been saying generally too much in this video. I'm sorry for that. I just always have one word which I say a lot, because I just get down. Yeah, that's weird about language. Like very many people, when they don't speak in their own first language, they have some words which they use very much. And actually, in your own language, you'll notice that you've got some words which you just use all the time. I'm not too sure what you call it in English. If you like in Dutch, you've got a word for it, for like that word which you're using all the time. But yeah, probably in English as well. I just don't know what it's called. Yeah, what I wanted to say is that if you've got any suggestions for like any other videos, let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you've got like suggestions for speed builds or for that Let's Build, and just let me know what you think of this house. And yeah, leave a like in the comments. That would be really cool, because yeah, I really want many people to see this house, because honestly, I'm just really proud of this one. And if people are watching a video of mine, it should actually be this one, because this house is just a very representative, I guess, and just really in an architecture which I guess you could actually consider this maybe even my dream house. I mean, I actually, while creating the overview, had, then always the sim is actually living in a house, and I honestly hate that, because then he puts his food all around the house, and then he pees if I'm not actually letting him pee, so that sort of sucks. But then often I let him sleep, just to make sure that the time passes through the night, because at night you can't really create very many overview shots. At the end there are some, but generally you just want, there it is again, generally you just want to have the entire overview to be like daytime, logically enough. But then afterwards he woke up after sleeping, and he just walked around through the house. He went to one of the decks in the front, or in the back, at least on the ocean side of the house. He just stepped off those stairs, and then he went into the ocean, went on his floaty, and he was just floating around. And it was like 8 a.m. and I was like, that's the lifestyle you want to live. I mean, waking up, being able to get right into the ocean, getting on your floaty, and just starting the day off by half an hour of sunbathing on a floaty, not even having to worry about like getting sunburned. I mean, how cool is that? Being able to get into the ocean straight from your own house, that's just a crazy luxury. Almost no one lives like this. Like seriously, almost no one, because in the Maldives, all of the houses like this one are actually resorts, so no one lives there. It's not their home. They do live there for like a couple of weeks, maybe as a holiday, and then that's still a very nice lifestyle. But not very many people actually live like this. Maybe in French Polynesia, Hawaii, there's some people with houses on stilts who are able to do that. But seriously, that's so cool. And like, especially that kind of lifestyle is sort of a dream. Even though I wouldn't want it for all the time, because I really like cities as well, and I like to have some buzz around me and being in an environment where a lot of things happen. But for every now and then to be able to just go like to a place where nothing happens, and you're just in the middle of nowhere on the ocean in a beautiful surroundings where you want to take pictures all the time because it's so beautiful, that would be really cool as well. I guess that's a lifestyle everyone wants, but at least we're almost there with summer holidays, which is really cool, because yeah, that means that yeah, we'll be able to sort of get closer to that lifestyle, at least again. I'm definitely not going to the Maldives, but at least we'll be able to have some free time, or at least most of us, hopefully, and like enjoy the good weather. Because I believe in the US, people even have maybe gotten like their summer holidays already, which I think is sort of soon, but I guess in the US it's all different. At least I've still got to study for like 2 more weeks, slightly more, and then I've actually got summer holidays, and I'm leaving to Croatia immediately after that. And then later on, I'm also going to Italy. So I've been traveling a lot this year. It's crazy. Yeah, I just like traveling a lot. And seeing or actually working on a build like this makes me really excited to actually go to like a tropical place like this again. And I can imagine that for live mode people, I mentioned in this video already that I don't know very much about it, but I can imagine that this truly is a cool pack for live mode, because I almost have to contain myself not to actually start playing it. And I mean, it's not like it's a bad thing, but I know that once I will start, I'm just not really good at it, and I'll sort of get bored with it sort of soon, because I'm just really into building, but not about live mode. But you know, that just that thought of being able to simulate your life, getting away from the 9 to 5 and just living there and becoming like an activist to make sure that the island stays clean and healthy, is just a really cool idea, if you ask me. Here downstairs, by the way, we're building the bedrooms. This is the master bedroom. It's actually very spacious. That's also slightly because, or partly because, I've actually thought about the interior while building the exterior of the house this time. Often I sort of totally forget about that, and then I end up with a shape too awkward to even put anything in there, which leaves me with no choice but to make one bedroom and just really the minimum required things to be put in there. And then the fun thing is that the house actually ends up looking sort of big, but then actually is really small. That sort of is, yeah, that is actually not true for this one. This one doesn't really look that big, even though maybe it does look big. From the front, it doesn't look that big because it's not very wide, but it is very long. 3 bedrooms is actually not a really bad score. And then also 3 bathrooms, because of course you want an ensuite in this one. I did actually copy it quite a bit, just like from the other rooms, because I didn't really feel like this is the house where your child would have a different type of room for some reason. Maybe also because this is the type of house which you would normally rent out like the biggest part of the year, where it is still like sort of a hotel, I guess. So I just sort of copied it also to be quicker, and I had so many new items to use that, that's fun with a new pack. You're actually getting away from like the typical items you're always using, which is sort of my like weakness. I very often just use the same objects, but with new packs that's not the case, because there's so many new objects to choose from, which are all really good looking, especially with this pack, because it fits so nicely, and there's just some really cool modern items which you can combine with modern items and like features, which just makes it end up looking really cool. But I've said that like 1,000 times already by now. But as you can see, like the wall paintings are all the same. At least the other room is a little bit different, like slightly, because I imagine that to be the guest room, also because it's like apart from the rest, and because of the split level thing, which I explained already. From the front, by the way, I just slightly saw the front there. It looks sort of weird because you only see that huge roof, but then behind there's so much detail and so much like different things, and that is sort of cool that there's some sort of hidden world behind that sort of, it's not really like a modest front because it's still huge, but it is sort of a cool feature if you ask me. I actually did use some of my architecture skills, which I've been learning, like viewpoints and stuff, in this build, which is fun, and I didn't actually think about it while doing so, but then later on I realized, oh wait, this is actually a build which I thought about the architecture, not just creating something, but actually making something that in real life would function sort of logically as well. So that is fun. That's the benefit of actually watching a YouTuber who's actually an architecture student and builds in The Sims. But anyways, we're at the end of the video right now, so the overview is coming in a second. Finally, I was able to create an overview in the game, because in Los Angeles I was actually not able to get those really cool slow shots, which you'll be seeing in like a second from now. But anyways, before you and like watching this video, make sure you leave a like and make sure that you're subscribed to my channel so that you'll be seeing more island living videos in the future. And then I hope to see you back later.